And then came the next big challenge: how do we get there? There were no more commercial flights going into Acheh. There were no more ships going into Acheh. We also were totally unsure about whether we could get by road. Fortunately for us, there was another organization of sailors from Langkawi who had also had a very similar or bad experience, because they were part of the tsunami. They got hit too in Langkawi at the ports, and some of them lost their boats, some of them lost everything that they owned, because basically they used to live on those boats. So when I made my first phone call to Captain Hugo, he was just as relieved as I was, because finally we had a partner. They had the means to get there by boats, because they owned yachts. Most of them were sailors on private yachts, and they had the means to get there, and what they needed was a team of people who could go there and assist them to help the people and also to bring the goods along. Captain Hugo and the team in Langkawi had their own challenges. We had to send container loads of food, water, medicines up to them. And Captain Hugo and his team up in Langkawi had all the challenges of how to get that stuff on the boats, because we had limited amount of space on the boats. They had to choose what to put on the boats. And honestly, all this communication was going on between us and Waves of Mercy and Captain Hugo only over the phone. None of us had met each other. We even had no idea what was to be expected at that time.
To date, some 150 volunteers have worked in Acheh, taking with them up to $7 million worth of aid thus far. Apart from essentials, the volunteers also took Qurans for the adults and goodie bags for the kids during the Muslim celebration of Qurban in January. Understandably, the holy books are much sought after in these troubled times, and many more have been sent in subsequent missions. The volunteers' selfless service to humanity ranges from manning the command and control center in Kuala Lumpur, packing and labeling supplies, sending food to displaced families in Acheh, treating the injured, clearing debris, building lavatories, handling trauma cases, and last but not least, playing with the children. Having shifted from the relief phase to rehabilitation, the Global Sikhs Waves of Mercy are determined to help kickstart their economy. Boats, fishing nets, seedlings, and even sewing machines have been supplied to the victims. Prayers are recited by all team members, irrespective of denomination. Well wishes, friends and families roll up at the Global Sikhs headquarters in Kuala Lumpur to bid farewell to the eager and enthusiastic volunteers.
I've not been on any particular relief mission, but in this instant I wanted to make a conscious effort to be able to contribute back. These people have lost everything and I cannot imagine what that's like, and I just want to be able to help any way I can. It's a devastating experience to lose your families and to lose your belongings, and I think that by being there and physically showing them our care, it's going to make a difference.
Thank you.
Well, back at my hometown in Sabah, yes, I did some community service, like church activities, and then so we are going to the very rural places in Sabah and then give some basic education to them. I think this small contribution should make a very big difference. smile in their face.
Because when we see around what happened, I find that I'm very lucky. We Malaysians are very lucky because we are having a very comfortable life. We should be grateful to God that we are not that badly affected. And I personally find that I have a lot of blessings from God. And maybe this is a little I can do in return to say God that thanks for whatever good life I'm having. I'll be involved with logistics and mainly into food distribution, look into toilet facilities or any structural facilities, and of course we'll be assisting other teams in their job.
Scientists say tsunamis are not common in the Indian Ocean, although the Pacific Ocean has its fair share of tidal waves. But don't be fooled, as every sea has the potential of lashing out with great force towards the shore. According to survivors, their knowledge in geography saved their lives. Many people reported seeing the sea rapidly receding, and they knew what the receding ocean meant. In fact, humans were not alone. Reports from various countries revealed that animals were behaving in a peculiar way before the tsunami hit. Strangely enough, it was the animals that knew God's invisible hand was sending the Global 6 Waves of Mercy volunteers to serve the shattered Achenis. A group of dolphins ushered the first team of Global 6 Waves of Mercy volunteers as they were approaching Banda Acheh. They swam alongside the ship for about half an hour before going separate ways. These mammals seemed to tide over, offering divine love and support for the uninitiated. On December 26, 2004, Banda Acheh was in shambles.
A tidal wave triggered by a massive earthquake has killed at least 1,800 people in Asia. Indonesia are devastated.
Trees uprooted, broken buildings, and bodies were everywhere. "20 days later, just 15 nautical miles of Banda Acheh, the Global 6 Waves of Mercy found the flattened remote village of Paro. About 3,200 people had died, and famished and weak survivors were unable to walk towards the volunteers as they had not received any food in almost 3 weeks. The Global 6 Waves of Mercy team had to walk more than a kilometer from the coastline before it found any survivors. With its base camp in Sabang, Pulau, the Global 6 Waves of Mercy sails alongside the coast looking for faraway, desolate villages, as they are the only relief team with ships and can scout the west coast of Aceh for survivors.